The lesson.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. We got the man Juggerter from Melbourne, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, bros. Good.
Thanks for taking the time to, to make it to the spot and shoot the interview, man. Your name's come up in the comment section a fair bit.
Yeah, mad.
We've been trying to make this happen for a little while, eh?
Yeah, yeah. You've been hitting me up for ages, eh? I've just been this way out and that other shit on my plate. But yeah.
Nah, that's all good, man. So, look, you've got a bit of a, obviously got a bit of a story to tell. Your first time on the show, so want to try to cover it front to back as best as we can.
Yeah.
Now, you're originally from Shepparton, Victoria?
I was born down here in Melbourne. Went to Shep in grade 3, and then I think I come back to Melbourne. I was like 16, and then I was just back and forth from Melbourne to Shep for years because my mum lives in Preston and my dad's in Shep, and like my sister and my brother. But, yeah.
So do you still go back to Shepparton now?
Yeah, that's where I'm staying now. I've been like staying there for a fair bit now, eh?
Okay, so basically you've grown up in Shepparton.
Pretty much.
Now, I guess the first time I heard of Shepparton was, I think Briggs,
Yeah.
the Baby Original, was from there. And I think that was the first time I heard of that area. For you, can you describe what that area was like growing up? To my understanding, it's a relatively rough part of Victoria.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Just when ice hit, you know what I mean? That's when it got real hectic and that. But before that, it wasn't too bad. Like when I was growing up there as a little tacker and that. But big cultural difference in that. Like when I was down Melbourne and that, you didn't really see curries and that. You know what I mean? But now, once I went to Shep, like it's all curries and that. And like most of my mates are curry and that. I don't even think I got any white mates. Most of them are just fucking, yeah.
Now, you mentioned that it was relatively chill growing up there until the ice hit. Do you remember how old you were and what year that was when you noticed that shit come through?
I sort of missed it actually because I ended up getting my own house in Melbourne in Footscray with my missus and my daughter for like, I think 2.5 years or something. And then I went back and fuck man, it was a big eye opener and that. Everyone was just cooked, brothers, and fucking, or they were locked up from fucking being on ice and that. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And then, so I guess when you've gone, how old were you when you went back?
Must have been like early 20s, I think. Yeah.
And then, so when you've gone back in your early 20s and you've noticed that shit's going on, what are some of the things that you saw, like the effects or the impacts that it's had on the community when that shit popped off?
Well, just like good people, you know what I mean? Like full good cunts that like I got a lot of respect and love for were just gone, man, like in their own world and that. And there was no like telling them, you know, to pull up and that. No one, they just don't give a fuck, you know what I mean? When you're on the ice and that, it's fucked. I can't say that I haven't like dabbled in it myself, but I've never had the issue where I was like on it every day, and you know, I was more just like a weekend fucking have a little play on it and then get off it.
And so I guess going back there in your 20s or in your early 20s or whatnot and seeing that shit going down, that's where you've been introduced to it, and then that's where you started dabbling in that as well.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like with something like that, is it like a peer pressure thing, or is that's just what's going down and you're curious, or you're just like...
Well, I guess because just everyone around you is doing it, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't go to anywhere, like couldn't go to my mate's house because everyone there's smoking it. Yeah, just everyone, man. Like, everywhere you turned, like it was just everywhere. You couldn't escape it, sort of thing.
And then how did you manage to I guess, keep something like that under control? Because usually, or often, it just spirals out of control pretty quick with people.
Just I'm more of a like when I used to use it, I'm more of a downer, you know what I mean? I used to like sip a lot of lean and like pop valleys and zannies and that. I was never really one that liked being up, you know what I mean? And because I'm bipolar, like I had a couple episodes where I like went into a full like psychotic fucking episode and shit and just cooked shit, you know? Yeah.
And so is that, do you reckon, is that due to like the lean and the zannies and all that sort of shit?
No, it was more with the ice.
Ah, okay.
That's why I like never got cooked on it like bad, you know what I mean? Because I'd only be up for one night and I would just fucking act like a fucking cooked cunt, like bad cooked cunt, you know? Yeah, bad.
Yeah, right. So so basically what you're saying is having those episodes early on is what prevented you from continuing to smoke it.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah, okay. And I guess when you talk about you know, zannies and lean and that sort of shit, what are some of the effects that has, and is that something that got out of control for you, or did you always have a grip on that as well?
I was pretty bad on the lean at one point, like to the point where whenever I went to like get-togethers and that, everyone else would be drinking and I would just have my Sprite and like everyone asked some questions, no, what's that shit you're drinking, you know? I was just real quiet about it, didn't, you know? But I started having problems with my guts and shit, like my appendix and that were like fucking swollen up and I was in hospital a couple of times over it.
Wow.
I only really stopped drinking it because I couldn't buy it anymore. But it was probably a good thing.
Wow. So how often were you drinking it that it gave those issues to your appendix?
Well, when I was in Melbourne, and I was literally like, I was drinking it on my own, but then I introduced my neighbour to it. He was doing rap and that as well. And then, like once I showed him, man, we were literally like going different suburbs and that and just going like different chemists every day and that. Like some days I wouldn't go without it. And then I think I went back to Shep and I was still sipping on it there, and then fucking, yeah, I ended up going to hospital and shit.
And so when you talk about getting access to it, because I've never tried it before. The first time I heard of lean was from, you know, Texas rap songs.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
American shit.
Yeah, yeah.
To my understanding, because you talk about going to different chemists and that, like, is the lean from America different to the shit in Australia?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure their shit's like way more potent, I think. See, the Pain Stop, it's called, it's actually made for kids. Like it's a pain reliever, but like heavy, like, but it's only meant for kids. Like give them a teaspoon when they like have operations or got swollen tonsils and shit like that. But yeah. And you just go to the chemist and give them a different excuse, you know, every time, just make up shit to get it and that. Some of them wouldn't give it to you, but then you just go to the next chemist and that, and like, mostly the Asian ones and that, they wouldn't give a fuck, they'll just sell it.
So do you need a doctor's prescription to get that shit?
Well, now apparently you can still get it. I thought it was discontinued, but you can still get it now, but you just, yeah, you've got to get a doctor's, get a script off a doctor and that.
But so when you were getting it, you were going to different chemists because why? You obviously they won't let you buy like a whole bunch.
Yeah, like there was a chemist just at the end of my street, an Asian lady, and I started going there that many times using my kid as an excuse to get it, like, oh, my daughter's sick, or my daughter's got this and that. And then she was like ended up saying like, what's wrong with your daughter? You know, you can't keep feeding her this and that. You got to go get her checked out and shit. So fucking just scrap that one and then go to the next chemist, find another one, and that'll sell it.
Yeah, right. And then I guess for like in terms of the effects for people that's never been on the lean, it's like it slows down your whole like it basically just slows down your whole body system, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, buzz. It's the best. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but like, yeah, I loved it, man. Literally lean, like you're literally leaning out, can't keep your head up and that, like on the nod and that. To people who haven't seen it, they just think you're on the smack or something, you know? Because you're on the Murray Cod and that, just fucking, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then so how long were you, I guess, sipping the lean for? And then is it the medical stuff, like the doctor's visits, that made you stop?
Nah, I just stopped because I couldn't get it anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Pretty much, yeah. But if they hadn't stopped selling it, I probably would have been fucked, you know. I would have, I don't know, who knows what could have happened to that. I probably would have had a longer hospital visit. Because once I get in the hospital and they're like saying, oh, your appendix and that and all that are all swollen up and that. Once you tell them it's codeine, they just say see you later and that, you know. Send you home, that's it.
The lesson. 927. Oh, yeah.